peaceful garden, the Garden of Gethsemane. It was a place where Jesus and his friends had gone together to pray so many times before. And it started out on this night quiet too. But it wouldn't be long before it would become loud, full of angry voices, people carrying torches and clubs. But for now, it was quiet. You remember that Jesus and his friends had eaten a last meal together, a last supper. And Jesus knew that it was almost time for him to die. That was a hard thing to think about. He was a little worried and was probably scared. And so Jesus needed strength from God. He prayed to get strength from God. You see, when Jesus went to the garden that night, he had a choice to make. He could just walk away from the whole thing. But Jesus knew that God's plan was best. He knew that if he didn't die, we'd be separated from God forever. And Jesus loved us too much to let that happen. So Jesus took his friends to the garden. And there on the edge of the garden, he asked most of his friends to wait behind. But he took 3 of his friends, Peter, John, and James, deep into the garden to watch over him while he prayed. See, Jesus knew that his betrayer, Judas, was even now with the Jewish leaders, and they were preparing to come and to take him by force. And Jesus knew that he would need strength from his Father for what was about to happen to him. So right there in the garden, he got down and he prayed. Father, if there's another way to do this, then please take this away from me. But Jesus wasn't done praying. He went on to say, but God, I know that you always know best, and your plan is always right. And so not what I want, but what you want. Not my will, but your will be done. Whatever you think is right, Father, that's what I want to do.
It was the Garden of Gethsemane. It was a quiet place where Jesus had taken his disciples many times to pray. And on this night, it was quiet too. But it wouldn't be long before it would be loud, with people shouting angrily, with people coming and carrying clubs and torches. But for now, it was quiet. If you remember, Jesus took the disciples to the garden after the Last Supper. You see, Jesus knew that he needed to pray. He knew the time was going to come pretty soon for him to have to die. He was nervous. He was probably scared. And so he went to the garden to pray for strength. You see, he knew he had a choice to make. He knew that he could decide not to go through with this thing. He knew he could decide at any moment not to die. But he also knew that God's plan was the right plan. And he knew that if he went through with God's plan, people all over the world, everybody would have the chance to be with God. So he was in the garden praying. Well, he took the disciples to the garden's edge, but 3 disciples, Peter, James, and John, he took deep into the garden with him. You see, he knew the betrayer was coming soon. He knew soon he would be arrested. But for now, it was time to pray. And this is what he prayed. He prayed, Father, if there's any way to do this a different way, please do it. But if not, your will be done.